You mean to tell me they ate that? Commander Ruvik's voice wavered, his fins expanding in pure disbelief. The image on the holographic display confirmed it. Grainy surveillance footage showed humans around the massive carcass of a Vesh, the ultimate predator from the planet Altruz 9. They had killed it and then cooked it. The assembled officers from the Galactic Council's expeditionary fleet sat in stunned silence. Altruz 9 wasn't a simple world. It had been classified as a Class 7 danger zone, a designation few planets received. The creatures that roamed its surface were armored, venomous, or in most cases both. The Vesh was the worst of them all. 3.6 meters of deadly teeth, immune to most weapons, faster than any creature of its size should be. For years, even the bravest Trari warriors had avoided them. Yet, the humans did more than simply survive an encounter with one of them, they turned it into dinner. Admiral Korvac's voice was deep as he requested. "Play it again." The officer in charge of playback hesitated but complied. The grainy footage resumed, showing a small team of humans near the dead beast. Their leader, a large and scarred individual with calm confidence, held an improvised spear. The Vesh lay motionless, a dark stain spreading beneath it. Then the humans began to work. Knives were drawn, joints were cut, strips of meat were pulled away and placed in a portable cooking device. They chatted casually while working, as if preparing a meal in their own homes. One of them raised a large piece of meat, smelled it, and smiled before tossing it onto the fire. The footage cut off. Silence filled the room once more. Ruvik was the first to speak. "This is deeply unnatural. The Vesh is not prey. It has no natural predators." Korvac leaned forward, his claws tapping on the table. "And yet, here we are." Another officer spoke up, his voice low. "They ate it without fear, without hesitation." Ruvik, his spines trembling, replied, "We were told humans were adaptable, but this is something else. No sane species consumes the ultimate predator of a deadly world. The Council already knew that humans were different. When they were discovered, their home planet had already been marked as a Class 12 death world, a place of extreme climate, relentless predators, and an ecosystem built on competition, not balance. Many believed humans had survived only by sheer numbers, building cities and technology to protect themselves from the dangers of their world. But now, these images prove something entirely different. The humans didn't just survive, they conquered. A wave of growls spread through the room. Korvac exhaled slowly. "I want full reports on these humans. Their diets, their physiology, their psychology. If they are capable of this, then we may have underestimated their true potential." A communications officer shuddered. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the human expedition leader." The room tensed. "Put it on screen," Korvac ordered. The screen flickered, and a human face appeared. It was the same scarred individual from the footage. His expression was relaxed, almost amused. "Hey folks," he said. "We just wanted to say hello. Everything's going well here, plenty of food, but I've got to say, you never told us how good this was going to be." Ruvik felt his throat tighten. "You ate the Vesh?" The human raised an eyebrow. "Yeah, wasn't that allowed?" Some officers recoiled as though struck. Korvac remained impassive. "You killed it and ate it." The human laughed. Well, we weren't gonna let it go to waste. He gestured behind him, where other humans were gathered around a fire, biting into chunks of meat. One of them raised a skewer in a symbolic toast. Ruvik's fins contracted. Do you understand that the Vesh is a Class 7 predator? It has wiped out entire units of Triskeri troops. It's delicious, the human interrupted. The silence that followed was unusual for the council. Finally, Korvac leaned forward, his voice low. Do you know what this means? The human smiled. Yeah, it means we've got a lot more hunting to do. The transmission was cut off. The room remained in tense silence. Then Korvac spoke, his voice almost a whisper. We need to rethink everything. The council chambers remained quiet, no one daring to speak, as though any word might make the situation even more real. The humans had not only killed the Vesh, they had turned it into a meal. Now, they planned to hunt more. Ruvik exhaled slowly. We spent years ensuring minimal interaction with the Vesh. We wrote entire military doctrines to avoid them. And now, these humans see them as food. Korvac's claws marked the table in a rhythmic cadence. This isn't just about the Vesh. It's about their mentality. We assumed humans were just a species that adapts to survive. He turned toward the active holographic screen. We were wrong. They don't adapt, they conquer. The officers exchanged nervous glances. The communications officer hesitated before speaking. Admiral, there's more. Korvac turned his head with more focus. Explain. The officer was visibly uncomfortable. The humans are making plans to domesticate them. A wave of horror swept through the room. Domesticate them? Korvac asked. You're suggesting they want to raise the Vesh like cattle? The officer nodded. They've already marked several locations with enough space for enclosures. According to intercepted communications, they believe the creature's meat is too valuable to rely solely on wild hunts. They want a controlled supply. A choking sound came from one of the junior officers. Korvac stared at the screen, his mind working through the implications. They want to turn the most dangerous predator on this world into livestock. The silence was long before Ruvik spoke again, his voice whispering. They're not like us. Korvac refocused on the screen. Put me in touch with the human leader again. The officer hesitated. They're busy. Korvac narrowed his eyes. Doing what? The officer swallowed hard. They're hunting. Some officers tensed. Korvac exhaled through his nose and gestured toward the screen. Show me. The holographic screen shifted to a new transmission coming from an aerial reconnaissance drone monitoring the human camp. The humans were moving through dense vegetation, their bodies low and deliberate. They had already made more spears, but now they also carried what appeared to be rudimentary launchers. Several were positioned on elevated platforms, their weapons aimed at a clearing where bait had been set. Meat, blood, entrails, a trap. Korvac watched, stunned, as the trees shook and Avesh approached. The beast emerged from the vegetation, its massive form moving cautiously. Its large nostrils flared as it smelled the air, aware something was wrong, but hunger drove it forward. Then the humans attacked. One of the men fired a projectile from his rudimentary launcher. The device made no sound, but the effect was immediate. Thick, coiled nets sprang up, ensnaring the creature's limbs. The Vesh roared, thrashing violently, but the humans did not retreat. They moved in. The largest of the men leapt from his elevated position, spear in hand, and landed on the creature's back. The Vesh writhed, but the human held firm, driving the spear into the base of its head. Another man followed, driving a second spear into its ribs. The beast gave one last roar before falling. The humans celebrated. Korvac's claws dug into the armrest. "They're not testing their strength," he murmured. "They're refining their technique." Ruvik swallowed hard. That wasn't an accident. They're learning how to bring down the Vesh more efficiently. On the screen, the humans had already begun to tear apart the carcass. But something was different. Some of them were examining the creature's muscular structure, pointing out key areas and taking notes. If you liked it, like and subscribe to the channel. We'll post more videos. Have a great day!